Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to today's daily class, His Holiness Candramauli Swami's daily class. And we have the great fortune to hear from Her Grace Sridevi Mataji today. Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We will be covering the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2. Chapter 4, verse 6. Is that correct, Mataji? Yes, okay.
Yes, that's correct, Ekta. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, and all glories to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. My humble obeisances to each and every one of you. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Are you ready? Then I can start sharing the verse
Yes,
and hand
please.
over to you. Yes? Okay, perfect.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So just as Ekta Mataji pointed out, we are in Canto 2, Chapter 4, verse number 6. Very, very beautiful verses where Maharaj Parikshit is asking question after question to Shukadev Goswami. And Shukadev Goswami is absolutely delighted to answer Maharaj's questions because they are pertaining to the goal of human life. Maharaj Parikshit, to give you context, has only 7 days left to live. And he wants to make the most of it. And here's the whole array, not just sages, great personalities, exalted personalities, munis, sages, saints, kings, all of them have gathered, even from other planetary systems, in order to hear this great dialogue between Shukadev Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit. So, we are privy to this wonderful dialogue, to this wonderful divine conversation. Isn't that wonderful? Thanks to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Okay, without further ado, we will jump into the words. Bhuya eva vivitsami bhagavan atmamayaya yathedam srijate vishvam durvibhavyam adishvarahai. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. I beg to know from you how the personality of Godhead, by His personal energies, creates these phenomenal universes as they are, which are inconceivable even to the great demigods. Now, this is a pretty long purport, so we might break it into two halves. Let's see how it goes. Purport also by Srila Prabhupada, which goes like this. In every inquisitive mind, the important question of the creation of the phenomenal world arises. And therefore, for a personality like Maharaj Parikshit, who wants to know all activities of the Lord from his spiritual master, such an inquiry is not uncommon. For every unknown thing, we have to learn and inquire from a learned personality. The question of creation is also one of such inquiries to be made to the right person. The spiritual master, therefore, must be one who is Sarvagya, as stated herein before in connection with Shukadev Goswami. Thus, all inquiries on God, which are unknown to the disciple, may be made from the qualified spiritual master. And here the practical example is set by Maharaj Parikshit. It was, however, already known to Maharaj Parikshit that everything we see is born out of the energy of the Lord, as we have all learned in the very beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Janmadhyasya Jataha. So Maharaj Parikshit wanted to know the process of creation. The origin of creation was known to him, otherwise he would not have inquired how the personality of Godhead, by his different energies, creates this phenomenal world. The common man also knows that the creation is made by some creator and is not created automatically. We have no experience in the practical world that a thing is created automatically. Foolish people say that the creative energy is independent and acts automatically as electrical energy works. But the intelligent man that knows, where are we? I lost the. Okay. But the intelligent man knows that even the electrical energy is generated by an expert engineer in the localized powerhouse. And thus the energy is distributed everywhere under the resident engineer's supervision. The Lord's supervision in connection with creation is mentioned even in Bhagavad Gita 9:10. And it is clearly said there that material energy is a manifestation of one of many such energies of the Supreme. Parasya Shakti Vividhaiva Shruyate. An inexperienced boy may be struck with wonder by seeing the impersonal actions of electronics or many other wonderful things conducted by electrical energy. But an experienced man knows that behind the action is a living man who creates such energy. Similarly, the so-called scholars and philosophers of the world may, by mental speculation, present so many utopian theories about the impersonal creation of the universe, but an intelligent devotee of the Lord, by studying the Bhagavad Gita, can know that behind the creation is the hand of the Supreme Lord. Just as in the generating electrical powerhouse, there is the resident engineer. The research scholar finds out the cause, okay, and effect of everything. But research scholars as great as Brahma, Shiva, Indra, and many other demigods are sometimes bewildered by seeing the wonderful creative energy of the Lord. So, what to speak of the tiny, mundane scholars dealing in petty things? As there are differences in the living conditions of different planets of the universe, and as one planet is superior to others, the brains of the living entities in those respective planets are also of different categorical values. As stated in the Gita, one can compare the long duration of life of the inhabitants of Brahmaji's planet, which is inconceivable to the inhabitants of this planet Earth. The categorical value of the brain of Brahmaji, also inconceivable to any great scientist of this planet. And with such high brain power, even Brahmaji has described in his great Samhita, Brahma Samhita, as follows. ईश्वर परम कृष्ण सच्चित आनंद विग्रह अनादिरादिर गोविंद सर्व कारण कारणम. There are many personalities possessing the qualities of Bhagavan, but Krishna is the supreme because none can excel him. He is the supreme person and his body is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. He is the primeval Lord Govinda and the cause of all causes. Okay, we'll quit there because there are many points. And then if we have time, we'll pick up the second half of the purport. So let's go back up, my dear Ekta, and we can talk about how this desire to know arises. Man is the highest on the evolutionary scale. Okay. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Candramauli Swami Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, the desire to know is very deep rooted. The desire to revere, to adore, to worship is inbuilt in the human DNA. Why? Because man is made in the image of God, for one. Second, man is highest on the evolutionary scale and he has been given the brain to think, to meditate, to wonder, to analyze, to engage in critical thinking, to put two and two together, to figure out things. Huh? All these powers have been given to the human brain. A cat and a dog and a sheep and a rabbit and a snake, they cannot think beyond eating, sleeping, mating, defense. If you ask the dog, can you make an ethical decision whether to eat the bone of a rabbit or bone of something else? He's going to be wow, 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 wow. He's not going to be able to distinguish anything from anything. But man, being made in the image of God, which means what? He has to come closer to God in the human form of life. That is why the human form of life is given to that soul so that one can reconnect with God because we are part and parcel of God, as Srila Prabhupada so famously said, and we are just meant to serve God. That is our eternal identity. It's our eternal function. Just as a hand and a leg and a head and a nose and a eyes, they're all meant to serve the whole body. Similarly, we, being part and parcel of God, Krishna, we are meant to serve Krishna. So, man in ignorance does not know many things. But when he matures, he starts thinking. As a child, you may have wondered looking up into the sky, wow, look at that beautiful expanse of this beautiful black sky at night with so many stars. I wonder who made these stars. I wonder where they come from. I wonder what happens to them. Haven't you wondered as a child? I think each and every one of us did. And what about the moon? How beautiful it is. And there's a full moon like Sharad Purnima now going on. How beautiful it is. And during the daytime, on a good day when the sun comes out, and you actually, I'm talking about London now. This is for Ikta. When the sun actually comes out, what a wonderful day it is, right? Here we are lucky, the sun is always there. In fact, we have lots of sun. So, when the sun comes out, everything is bright, pure, clean, because the sun purifies everything. So that time again, it's a source of wonder. Where is this sun coming from? How is it setting? What does it do? How does it enhance our lives? All these questions come, and we have to learn from the right source. When I was in school, you know what they taught us? Big Bang Theory. That's all it was. It was a theory. It wasn't reality. It took many years and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada for me to come across devotees and finally get real knowledge. You will not believe this. I went through 8 years of medical school. Not a single doctor told me, you are not the body, you are eternal spirit soul. Not one. So it's not so easy to get divine transcendental knowledge. It is not so easy to get a bona fide spiritual master, but somehow, by great good fortune, we have stumbled upon this wonderful real world of real knowledge with a real, genuine, bona fide spiritual master called Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai! Guru Maharaj ki jai, because he is purely following Srila Prabhupada and also a pure devotee of the Lord. So we are getting to hear from the Guru Parampara. So spiritual master is the one we should make inquiries from. And how should those inquiries be made? Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadyakshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. That is the mood, that is the attitude, that is the mentality, that is the spirit with which one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. And what is that translation? Just inquire from a bona fide spiritual master. Inquire from him submissive. Just approach the spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. That is Bhagavad Gita 4:34. Maybe we can go there, my dear Ekta. Do you know how to do screen share? Fine. Okay. Can go to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse number 34. And there Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, just try to learn the truth. Sorry. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So now Maharaj Parikshit, thank you. That's good. Let's go back to the main verse. Maharaj Parikshit is making the most sober, deep, and reflective inquiries from Shukadev Goswami, who is answering his questions one by one. Now he wants to know about creation. How did this happen? How did the Lord create? How did these phenomenal universes come about? Who are the demigods? Who are the great sages? Everything he wants to know because he wants to make his life perfect. Similarly, we too must follow in the footsteps of these great devotees. Mahajano Jena Gatha Sapantha. It means follow in the footsteps of these great souls, make practical inquiries from the spiritual master, and learn about the eternal truth. So, Maharaj Parikshit wants to know the process of creation. The origin was known. He knew that Krishna is the cause. But how did the creation happen? How did Krishna's energies interplay with one another? Who is ultimately responsible? Is it Brahma? Is it Krishna? What is going on? Everything he wants to know. So common man knows that there is someone behind it, but many times in ignorance, even common people don't know. Prabhupada is bringing about this phenomenon which is very prominent in Kali Yuga. Everything happens automatically. The sun just rises, the moon rises, the waters are there, the tides come and go. Everything is just, automatically happening. Can anything happen automatically? No. There has to be a person. Even to start a computer, somebody has to press a button. Even to get a robot to move, robots nowadays are very sophisticated. Somebody has to press the button to activate that robot, right? Somebody has to press the buttons and operate a jet plane or a passenger plane. Anything, any machinery, it may look very wonderful. It may do wonderful things, but somebody has to set it in motion. Similarly, this great, wonderful creation that we see all around us, where everything is happening very precisely, there's a creator, there's a controller behind it, who is the Supreme Lord. Yes, there are secondary creators like Brahmaji, and then you have Durga Devi, who is in charge of the material universes, material worlds, and she is the one who keeps the living entities, all the nonsense, out of the spiritual world. As long as we want to lord it over material energy, as long as we are trying to be controllers and enjoyers and proprietors, then with her trident, she's jabbing at us. You cannot enter. You got to stay here till you learn your lessons. That's how she does it. And when does she withdraw the Trishul? When we finally fold our hands in complete submission to Krishna and say, Krishna, I know now I'm nothing but your servant. Help! I don't want to be stabbed all the time by the material energy. I surrender. Hands up. When you finally put your hands up and say, I surrender, I'm yours, then she withdraws. She says, okay, this guy has got it, or this lady has got it. She's understood what's her role, and she's now going to behave herself. Only when that happens, then she stops her stabbing, which means Adhyatmika, Adhibautika, Adhidevika. Slowly we will feel Klesh Agni. That means We will stop feeling the material misery so acutely as before, because now the protection is there, because we are coming under the divine energy, Ladini Shakti of eternal service to Krishna. So if we really want to get free of the stabbings and the proddings and the harassment of the material nature, more and more we must take to the service of Krishna and come under the devotional energy, come under the Ladini Shakti of the Lord. Then, even though there will be problems, we will not feel it so much because we are absorbed in devotional service. It acts like a, what you can say, Srila Prabhupada described it as a vaccine. I know vaccine is not a good term these days, but basically it means like a prophylactic. It prevents in getting infected by the material energy or getting affected by the material energy so much, because we are coming under the power of the internal energy of the Lord. So nothing is created automatically. Foolish people say that, but the devotee knows that Krishna is in control. Maya Dhakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagad Vipari Vartate. So everything is working under my direction. All these energies are mine. Huh? And the living entities who are conditioned are struggling very hard. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimuddhatma kartaham iti manyate. The living soul, bewildered by the material modes, considers himself to be the doer, when in fact he is being completely controlled by the three modes of material nature. So the conditioned soul doesn't know what is what, but the devotee knows what is what. And he understands that surrendering the service of the Lord is his constitutional position. He is nothing but a servant, and his only duty now is to render service unto the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna. So the Lord's supervision in connection with creation is mentioned even in the Gita. Let's go to 9:10, Ekta, because this ninth chapter is a very nice chapter. It begins on a beautiful note, and the second verse talks about how this is the king of education. Yeah, here we go. Maya Dhakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam Hetuna na Kaunteya Jagad Vipari Vartate. This material energy, which is one of my energies, material nature, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So, at timely intervals, everything is dissolved. Universal dissolution takes place, and everything is resorbed again into the body of Mahavishnu to lie in a dormant state for millions of years until he breathes out again, when again all these universes manifest like little bubbles coming out from the pores of his body, and into that enters Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. From the lotus navel of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu comes a lotus stem on which Brahma is born, and then as the secondary creator, he gives the bodies to all the living souls who are now picking up from where they left off. Whatever desires, whatever likings, whatever longings, whatever hankerings, whatever lamentations, whatever hates, dislikes, everything, all, the whole package, he gives you a body according to that. That's how we have so many species of life. So this is happening again and again, like a Ferris wheel. We have been up and down, up and down. Sometimes a demigod, sometimes an ant, sometimes a grasshopper, sometimes an elephant. And so the intelligent person starts thinking, why should I keep coming back into this cycle of birth and death? What is the answer? Where is that place where I can be permanently happy, eternally happy? And when he starts making inquiries like this, then his human life actually begins. Janmadasya jataha. What does that mean? Now you make inquiry into the cause of all causes, Krishna, into the cause of creation. Why are you here? Why are you suffering? What are you meant to do? Who are you, basically? All these questions are asked, which means you're coming to the human form of life. Okay, let's go back to the main verse, my dear Ekta. Yeah. So we saw that an inexperienced person, they may not understand how the things are taking place, but an intelligent person thinks and understands and tries to find out. But even so, he will get bewildered unless and until he receives the mercy of the pure devotee of the Lord coming in the bona fide disciplic succession, Guru Parampara. That is why Parampara is very important. So many people claim, I know everything. I'm a scholar of Vedic literatures. I have done my PhD in Sanskrit theology of, Lagu Bhagavad Amrita, or this or that. They can quote so many verses and say so many things. But do they really know Krishna? Do they know who they are in reality? No. Many of them are simply talking theoretically. That is why one must hear from the self-realized souls, from the bona fide spiritual master. When in the olden days, before the steam engine, there was horse-drawn carriages. Okay? So everywhere people knew only that the horses are pulling the wagon, and that's how it's going. So when the first steam engine, was on the tracks, people couldn't believe that it is steam and wheels and, piston and all that is doing it. They said there must be horses inside that engine and they are pulling the train. So you see how ignorance, or rather set beliefs, can make one think the most ridiculous things. That is why, again, one must hear from the bona fide source. So, if we do not, we can get very bewildered. Just as Brahma, Shiva, Indra, they get bewildered. Why? Because they're Sakama Bhaktas. They're demigods, but they still have material desires. They have not fully surrendered. And they are very powerful because they're also devotees of the Lord. They are Suras, not Ashuras. And so, because they are so pious and because they have rendered so much service, they're also given a lot of power. But because they're not fully surrendered, they're subjected to being bewildered. That is the point Prabhupada is making, that such great personalities as Brahma and Shiva can also get bewildered. What about us? We are so small, so tiny. And with our teeny tiny brain, we cannot do anything except get confused and bewildered. And that is why we need the mercy of Guru. Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. Bhagavad Gita 2.7, right there in that purport, when Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna and saying that I have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. Now I am your disciple, surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. And in that purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, it behooves a person to approach a spiritual master to get free of the perplexities of life. And Prabhupada goes on to explain, material perplexities will come even though we will not want them. And therefore, these are his exact words. It behooves one to approach a spiritual master, take his shelter, and then strictly follow the guidance of the spiritual master to come out of this maze called material life. Has anyone been in a maze? In some amusement parks and some picnic spots and all, they have what is called a maze. Have you heard of that? Maybe some of you have. They have a series of crisscrossing lanes and high, grass, it's like a shrub or a grass that grows so tall that you cannot see to the other side. And they have, such weird passageways through that. And they tell you, okay, you enter and you should be able to come out. But it is so confusing. You don't know which way to turn. You find yourself lost very easily. That's called a maze. That is what happens to us when we come down into this material world. Because we are conditioned, then we perform actions which cause reaction, which causes another reaction, and so we get entangled in the material energy. The only person who can bring us out is the spiritual master. Jai Gurudev, Jai Srila Prabhupada. So therefore, we offer humble obeisances at the lotus feet of such a great spiritual master who is an ocean of mercy and who leads the disciple out of this maze called material world. We sing in Guru Vandanam, isn't it? He banishes the darkness of ignorance from our hearts and bestows pure love for Krishna. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. O spiritual master, O ocean of mercy, O friend of the fallen, O life of all people, alas, alas, O master, please be merciful unto us. Please give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your glories are now sung all over the three worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet. So, one who has gone great trials and tribulations, suffered through many, many lifetimes, finally, when he gets a guru, he surrenders and says, "Thank you, my Lord. Now I can make my way out of this mess called the material world. I do not anymore want to keep rotating in this cycle of birth and death. Please help me to come back to you." And then the spiritual master helps such a soul to attain Krishna's lotus feet. Okay, I think we are good. We can go on to the next part of the purport also. So Brahmaji has described in his great, we did that, and he is the primal, okay. Brahmaji admits Lord Krishna to be the supreme cause of all causes. But persons with tiny brains within this petty planet Earth think of the Lord as one of them. See, this is another, this is another foolishness. Thus the Lord says in the Gita that he is all in all. Speculative philosophers and mundane wranglers deride him. And the Lord regretfully says, Avajananti mamudha manushim tanam ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. See, when Krishna came to this material world, he actually was known to very, very few people, hardly few people, the Pandavas, Bhishma Dev, and a few others like Akrur, Vidur, they knew that he was the Supreme Lord. But the vast majority did not recognize him. Duryodhan especially thought of him as just another person. When Krishna came as a peace messenger, Duryodhan got so angry, he tried to arrest Krishna. This is his foolishness. Krishna immediately showed his mystic power. They couldn't catch him, of course. And then Duryodhan, in spite of seeing that, just thought, this Krishna, he's a trickster. He's played some magic tricks on me. This is how deluded he was. So like this, people did not recognize Krishna. It took him to be an ordinary man, even though he is the Supreme Lord. So Krishna says, there are not just him, there will be many who think of Krishna as just an ordinary person or a mythological hero or some great historical personality. But God, no, he's not God. And so they make up so many stories about God. Especially in India, one fool after another will speculate, come up with his own ideas, become God temporarily while talking about God. This is very common. And they think they know who is God and they think they know how to talk about him. And they relegate him to just another historical figure. But this is not the truth. The truth is Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead. And all the demigods also worship him, even though they're very powerful. As it says here, the ministers may be Ishwaras, but the Supreme Lord is the Supreme Ishvara. He is the controller of Brahma, Shiva, Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Parvati, Ganesh, Chandra, Surya, Varuna, Indra, you name it. You name any demigod, demigoddess, they are all coming from Krishna. You name any sage, they are coming from Krishna. Krishna says in the Gita, I am the source of all that be. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. 10:9. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. These are the four nutshell verses of the Bhagavad Gita, very famous verses. You should try to understand these at least four nutshell verses because it gives all the philosophy in short. Hmm? So persons with a poor fund of knowledge do not know this, and though they have the audacity to deride him because he comes before us by his causeless mercy, just as a human being with two hands. If Krishna had to be with four hands and all his opulence in his Virat form, we would be like shaking and shivering, and his pastimes would be hampered. So therefore, Krishna comes just like an ordinary person, but there's nothing ordinary about Krishna. He is extraordinary all the way, all times, all circumstances, all places, in any form, whether he's a baby Krishna or whether he's in the form of Kurma or Dashavatar, any of the Matsya avatar, whether he's Narsingadev, whether he's Varahadev, whether he's the little tiny dwarf Upendra, he's the same Almighty Lord with all his opulences, six opulences: strength, wealth, beauty, wisdom, fame, renunciation. Krishna is full in all of them. That's why he's called Bhagavan. He is both the power and the powerful. He's Satchit Ananda Vigraha. He's not like a human being. Okay, next paragraph. Maharaj Parikshit did not ask his spiritual master, Shukadev Goswami, to narrate Lord Krishna's pastimes. He wanted to first hear about creation. This is also very important to understand because generally the mischievous people, knowing the propensity of the common population to get titillated by romantic dealings between man and woman, they jump up to the 10th canto. And the Ras Leela, they try to portray it as ordinary, girlfriend, boyfriend, and all that kind of stuff, just to titillate the audience. God also does all these things, so we can also do all these things. But God expanded himself to do Ras Leela with 108 gopis. Can you do that? No. So we cannot imitate the Supreme Lord because the Lord is the Lord. He can do anything. He expanded into 16,108 kings in order to take care of those 16,108 princesses. So the Lord's activities are uncommon, unusual, extraordinary, divine, unmatchable, inimitable, inconceivable, and always transcendental. This is Krishna. So this astonishing display of Krishna's energies only devotees can understand. Why? Because they are permitted into that inner circle. Just as a great man, he has his very close band of ministers or advisors or the inner caucus, as we call it. Only they know the workings of his mind, how he's thinking, what he's planning, because he shares only with them. Similarly, Krishna doesn't allow anybody and everyone to just come to know about him. He is very picky. He's very choosy. He only allows devotees into that inner circle. So we are very lucky. By Prabhupada's mercy, we are not devotees yet. We are trying to be devotees. But by Prabhupada's mercy, he says, I have the key to the back door. So that is how we are very, very blessed. And we are getting access to this wonderful transcendental knowledge by which we can get very clear about everything as it is. Brahma Samhita affirms that Durga Shakti is working under the direction of Govinda. Without his sanction, even the powerful Durga Devi cannot even move a blade of grass. See? Therefore, neophyte devotee, instead of jumping at once to the platform of transcendental pastimes presented by the internal energy of the Lord, may know first how great the Supreme Lord is by inquiring about the process of creative energy. In Chaitanya Charitamrita also, descriptions of the creative energy and the Lord's hand in it are explained, and the author has warned neophyte devotees to seriously be on guard against the pitfall of neglecting knowledge about Krishna in regard to how great he is. Only when one knows how great he is, one can firmly put one's unflinching faith in him. That is why it is important to know all these things about the Lord. Who he is, how he creates, what are his powers, when you hear about Mahavishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and you hear about the universes, when you hear about how the creation is manifested, when you hear about how Anantadev is holding all the universes on his head, and each universe is just like a little mustard seed, then we start thinking, my God, we are so tiny, we are so small, and this little Earth planet, which is inconceivably huge to us, is just one tiny little planet in one tiny little universe, which is as big as a mustard seed for Anantadev. Imagine how powerful the Supreme Lord is. Hmm? So this is something to wonder and to relish, and one should be captivated by this information. Srila Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita, let's go to the purport of 15.6 Ekta, and we'll stop at that point for questions. But the very last thing I want to say is in this particular purport, Srila Prabhupada says we should know about Krishna, we should know about the spiritual world. Okay, let's read the translation real quick because that's also very nice. And then we will jump to the part in the purport. Okay. The supreme abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Okay. Now let's go to paragraph 3, I believe. Yes. One should be captivated by this information. He should desire to transfer himself to that eternal world and extricate himself from this false reflection of reality. For one who is too much attached, it's very difficult. But if he takes to Krishna consciousness, there's a chance of gradually becoming detached. One has to associate with devotees who are in Krishna consciousness. One should search out a society dedicated to Krishna consciousness and learn how to discharge devotional service. And in this way, he can cut off his attachment to the material world. Haribol! Freedom! Victory! Joy! Waiting! Yes, this is the wonderful part about Krishna consciousness. We get free. We get free of the trappings of the material energy, and we slowly start coming back into our original position of eternal loving servitorship of Krishna. And then you become joyful because eternality, knowledge, and bliss is the nature of the spiritual world. And because you're part and parcel of that, you acquire those same qualities. In fact, you are no different from God in terms of qualities, but you're very small because you're a tiny spark. So in quantity, we are very tiny, just like a drop of an ocean, but we have the same qualities of God. Okay, let's go back to the very last part of the purport, and then we'll open up for questions. So, the transcendental pastimes of the Lord in Vrindavan and Dwarka are relishable for persons who have already qualified themselves in advanced spiritual techniques. And the common man may be able to attain to such a plane by the gradual process of service and inquiries, as we shall see in the behavior of Maharaj Parikshit. So, we are not at that level yet. We are still just neophyte devotees. We are still learning sadhana bhakti. We are still learning Vaidhi bhakti. We are still learning ABC. So we can't jump up to postgraduate stuff as yet. We have to wait. But the waiting is very sweet because we are making progress in our relationship with Krishna. So slowly, 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 we will be able to attain more and more knowledge, more and more purification. And finally, because by then, we would have developed unflinching faith in Krishna, in the spiritual master, everything will be revealed in the heart of that devotee. So thank you very much for patiently listening. We can now open up for comments, questions, corrections.
Thank you so much, Sridevi Mataji, for that wonderful class. And dear devotees, please turn your cameras on if you are able to. It would be nice to see everybody and have some interaction. And feel free to raise your hand and I will invite you to ask a question. You can also put it in the chat. So we can kick off with Balakrishna Prabhu, who has his hand up.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Humble obeisances to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to devotees everywhere.
Haribol, please accept mine, Balakrishna Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, and all glories to devotees everywhere. I like that.
Yeah. Mataji, I just wanted to, I'm not sure I'll have a question at the end, but I just wanted to thank you for a wonderful class. It covered so many things. There were so many takeaways. It was so comprehensive. We started with, Parikshit Maharaj asking about the glories of the Lord. Tell me more. I mean, you want to read more, like you want to jump ahead and read. That's such a wonderful question. And you told us there were so many takeaways from your class about how the Supreme Lord is everything. There are so many Shastric references for that. And then we have to ask that one question, why am I suffering? Brahma Jignasa, that's very important. And this has to be, I know from personal experience, this has to be donated to you. For 56 years, I was an idiot. And then suddenly I got a donation. Somebody had showed some mercy on me. So that has to happen. And then we have to take shelter of the Guru Maharaj, and we have to follow devotional service. And there's so much about the creation, and so many wonderful cross references you gave. And finally, last but not the least, if you ask a dog to take an ethical decision about a rabbit, it will say bow, 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 bow. So, yeah. So, of course, that was the joke, but everything else was so wonderful, Mataji. I don't know where to begin, what question to ask. It was very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Your enthusiastic participation is more than enough. You just being on the call makes Guru Maharaj so happy. It makes me happy too. Thank you, Balakrishna Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu, for that nice summary and your takeaways from the class. Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Sridevi Dasi. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to dear Guru Maharaj. All glories to all of the Vaishnavas.
Thank you, Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu. Please accept mine. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Gurudev. And all glories to all devotees everywhere.
Yes, every time you or Guru Maharaj or any speaker speaks on these subjects of following in these footsteps of the examples and footsteps of great devotees like Parikshit Maharaj in terms of his inquisitiveness and his intelligent questions around the creation of the universe. And I always get very disturbed in hearing such statements because, and you also talked about natural curiosity about how does this work? What's this in the sky? And I just feel like I don't have any curiosity as such, and I don't even want to read about these things because I feel that I only have limited time, and I just want to devote my time to improving my sadhana, service and surrender. And like these subjects are so vast and they're so complex and I will never understand it anyway. So I feel why do I have to do this when I just want to focus on this?
And you don't have to. You really don't have to. Nobody says that you have to delve into the mysteries of the universe or you have to understand how all creation took place and how, in the residence, Krishna expanded himself and so on and so on and so on. Because this is a very personal thing. Each soul has a very personal relationship with Krishna. You get to love and serve Krishna the way you want to. Krishna doesn't force anything on anyone. Krishna is a gentleman. So the way you approach, he will reciprocate with you accordingly. If you want to perfect your life by simply chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna will be happy to respond in that way. Remember that illiterate Kurma Brahmana in Chaitanya Charitamrita story, he didn't know how to read. But he was even sometimes holding it upside down because he didn't realize he was holding it upside down. And everyone else was making fun of him because they were all the qualified brahmanas and they knew the shastras and they knew the verses and they knew this and they knew that. And here's this little brahmana, struggling just to try to follow his Guru Maharaj's order, which is read the Bhagavad Gita every day. And he faithfully was reading the Bhagavad Gita every day. He was illiterate. And then Lord Chaitanya comes along saying, so Brahmana, what are you reading? And the Brahmana could see that this person at least is not making fun of me. He genuinely wants to know. Saying, well, this is my Gurudev's order. I'm trying to read. I don't really understand. But when I see this picture, how the Lord has willingly become a servant of his devotee, tears come to my eyes. And Lord Chaitanya said, my dear Brahmana, you have understood the Gita. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, he was the spiritual master of the most scholarly, most brilliant Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. But Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was illiterate and he was perfectly self-realized and he was a spiritual master. Anyone who came to him and asked questions from the Shastras, he could give perfect explanations and satisfy their hearts. So, it is not whether you got MA, BA, PhD, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Bible, it is unflinching faith in the spiritual master, unflinching faith in Krishna will reveal Yasya Deve Parabhakti Yatha Deve Tatha Guru Tasyaite Katitha hi Artha Prakashantes Mahatmana. One who has unflinching faith in the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord, all the imports of the Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed in the heart. So don't you worry. Don't you worry. You just keep going in the way that Guru Maharaj has, I'm sure he's instructed you and, told you how you must do this or how you must do, whatever it is, whatever those instructions, you simply follow those instructions faithfully and everything will be revealed to you in your heart. So you don't have to worry, why am I not attracted to making inquiry about creation? Why am I not taking any interest in? Don't worry about that. Take interest in what you're taking interest in and do it nicely to please Krishna. Finish. Bas. We don't have to do very much. We just have to do the little we have been given to do faithfully with love and devotion. That is all Krishna is asking. If one offers me a flower, a leaf, a little fruit, and a water with love, I will accept it. That famous verse is there, isn't it? How does that go? Phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. Pushpam patram phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati. So I will accept it. The ingredient is love and devotion. That's all Krishna wants. So don't worry about it. If you're not feeling curious about something or not trying to, gain vast amounts of knowledge by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam from A to Z and Chaitanya Charitamrita from A to Z and Chaitanya Bhagavat from A to Z, that's all right. If right now all you want to do is just read maybe Bhagavad Gita, that's fine too. Is that all right?
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sridevi Mataji.
Thank you for asking such a nice question. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your heart and trusting us to help you. That's a gift of trust. I appreciate it very much. And I thank Guru Maharaj for giving me little something so that I could hopefully answer you to your satisfaction.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Devotees, any other questions or comments? Whilst others think, I think similar to kind of Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, I would wonder like, why do we need to know so much about creation? Why can't we just, focus maybe more on hearing about Krishna and his pastimes in the spiritual world? Why do we need to learn so much about this material world, this material energy? And Prabhupada answered it in the purport today, and you elaborated on it so nicely that, it's important because it helps us to understand the greatness of Krishna, and therefore we then develop unflinching faith in him. So I thought that was really nice how Prabhupada explains why it's important to understand things in this material world and how Krishna is behind everything and orchestrating everything. So that was something that stood out to me in today's class.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments or questions from the devotees? No? Sridevi Mataji, is there anything else you would like to say to conclude today's class?
Well, I was thinking that, this purport is sort of directly in opposition to what I was just saying to Krishna Kaviraj. So I was wondering, did I make a mistake when I said that to Krishna Kaviraj? Have I sort of, misled him or what? I'm just thinking aloud a little bit. So I'd like to look at that purport one more time, the second half, to see whether I'm missing out something when I told him, don't worry if you are not able to have any curiosity about how creation happens. So
Shall
let
I
me
go
look at
further up?
it. Yeah, that's here did not king should hear about direct transcendental pastime naturally. Okay. Professional recital. Neither the king nor the great speaker jumped up like organizers. Both of them proceeded systematically so that both future readers and hearers might take lessons from the example of the procedure of reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. Those who are in the control or the words who must first of all know how the external. Now, where is that part where pitfall of
Is it here?
neglecting knowledge about Krishna in regard to how great he is? Only when one knows Lord Krishna's greatness can one firmly put one's unflinching faith in him. Otherwise, like the common man, even the great leaders of men will mistake Lord Krishna for one of the demigods, are relishable who have already qualified themselves. Okay. So, okay, I did not say anything wrong when I was explaining to Krishna Kaviraj that if he is not at the moment feeling any curiosity about Krishna or to know about creation, it doesn't disqualify him from continuing to practice Krishna consciousness. This is only because one must know how great Krishna is, then one can put full faith in him. Okay, now I got it. So I still stand by what I said to you, Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you for investigating and then confirming.
Yeah, because it's not like you're questioning Krishna's greatness or you're not trying to jump up to his Ras Leela, ignoring his creation. You're just at the moment more focused on sadhana bhakti. That's all. And that's all right.
Thank you. Rasulasni Radha Mataji, you have a
But
question?
one must not neglect reading. I'm sure you're reading something. You may not necessarily want to know about creation, but I'm sure you're reading Gita. And I'm sure you're reflecting on the Gita because I know you give a lot of feedback about the Gita on the group. And definitely that is impacting you because I remember you writing a whole poem about how inspiring the Gita is. So reading should not be neglected, and I'm very certain you're doing that. Okay.
A quick comment, Mataji, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I would like to thank Krishna Kaviraj Prabhu, because I think I'm in a similar situation. I could relate to it after he asked the question. While I do the japa and all these things, my heart is really in the kirtan. So we have ruchis in various aspects. That doesn't mean we are neglecting anything or anything like that. Our natural ruchis might be in various places, and that's probably okay.
Yes, yes, that is absolutely correct. Some of us may be attracted to deity worship. Some of us may be attracted to kirtan. Some of us may be attracted to going behind the scenes and cooking for the Lord in the kitchens. Some of us may like to be organizers of the program. So according to our propensities, according to our likes, Krishna is happy. In fact, he wants to taste different flavors of love. That's why he made so many of us.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rasa Vilasini Radha Mataji?
Just let me conclude that one more thing. Krishna Kaviraj, feel free to ask Gurudev also your question. I think the answer will benefit all of us. And I would also like to hear what Guru Maharaj would have to say about that.
I think Maharaj is giving class tomorrow, so maybe something you can ask Guru if you're on the call tomorrow. If you're not, then maybe Sridevi Mataji can ask on your behalf if you don't join the class.
I'll be happy to do that.
Sorry, I'm in service at temple on Sundays, so I miss Sunday class.
Oh.
So perhaps Sridevi Mataji, you can ask. And the session will obviously be recorded. So
let me make sure I got the question right. Your question is, I'm not so very curious to know right now about how creation is happening and who is the, what are the energies that are playing out. And, I'm more focused on my sadhana. I'm more focused on my service. And it's not very, appealing to me right now to read about all that. So is that okay? That's your question, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Think
okay,
so.
I'll ask the question for you.
Thank you. Sorry, Rasa Vilasini Radha Mataji now. Do you want to go ahead?
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, all glories to assembled devotees.
Please accept mine, Rasa Vilasini Radha Devi Dasi. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, and all glories to devotees.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, as Maharaj instructed us to read Srimad Bhagavatam, and I had been reading it, but just casually. Then once when I asked Maharaj something, he told me that we shouldn't read like that. We should understand the verses thoroughly. And we see them from different perspectives. So I started again from the beginning, reading along with Prabhupada's lecture. I'm still on just the third verse because there are so many lectures by Prabhupada on each verse. And I also heard from Prabhupada that we should hear the Bhagavatam from a pure devotee because otherwise we won't be able to truly understand it on our own. So, Mataji, is it good or? And Mataji, I was searching yesterday where we can get commentaries from different acharyas. Mataji, I didn't find anything.
Yeah, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written a commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's in the form of a PDF, and I have it on my email here. Let me just 1 second, huh?
Maybe you can post it in conference.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm just trying to see whether I have saved that long. It is called Sarartha Darshini. It's in the form of a PDF. So let me check. This was long ago in October of 2022. So I'll open up the links, make sure it's working, and then I'll send it to you because this tells you what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comments are about the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada referred to each and every one of these before he wrote his purports. So don't think you're missing out on something. This is just expanded reading. If you stick to, yes, yeah, it's a printed book also. You can get free PDF also. So if you stick to just Srila Prabhupada's purports, you will be getting all the Acharya's commentary, the main Acharya, Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya. But if you want to do further reading, of course, you're welcome to do that. My suggestion would be, first you read Prabhupada's purports, you do a systematic study of what Prabhupada has given us. When you're finished with the preliminary study, when you second time again begin that time you can read all the, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj has written sometimes some things, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, like that. So that can be a second reading.
Yeah, sure, Mataji. That's what
And
Mataji
if you,
was thinking.
and if you have a really good appetite for reading and you want to, then you can look up this Sarartha Darshini. It's a tika. Tika means commentary. And I can send it to you by PDF if you want to read.
Yes, sure, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. And Mataji, I was thinking like Maharaj knows everyone's heart. What is going on and what are you doing and everything.
Yes, divine knowledge.
Yes. Mataji, thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll also put it on the group because Balakrishna Prabhu said put it for everyone.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Yes,
Welcome.
Mataji.
And we also hear that Prabhupada actually distilled all of the commentaries of the previous acharyas, and then he wrote his purports in it.
Yeah.
We're almost getting the essence of all of the acharyas' commentaries in Prabhupada's purports, aren't we?
Yes, we are, without a doubt. And Prabhupada also said, I have not written these books. Krishna has written these books. Of course, this is Prabhupada's humility because he is so closely in touch with Krishna that Krishna is dictating, Prabhupada is writing.
Haribol.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, we have Krishna Kaviraj again.
Hey Krishna, yeah, I just thought I might share something, if I may, after hearing Rasavilasini Radhamataji's question, because I felt that maybe like a year or a bit longer than a year and a half or something ago, I had a similar situation where Guru Maharaj said, okay, if you're not understanding the verses, read it slowly, read it over and again. And then I got to the situation where I was reading just the first few verses of the Bhagavatam over and over and over for maybe like 3 months. I was just kept reading them over. And then I was in a class and there's a super awesome senior devotee who's now a president of ISKCON South London. And he first of all, he asked me some questions, like he said, have you read the Bhagavatam before? And I said, I did read it once end to end, but I didn't understand very much of it. And now I'm trying to read verse by verse, and like, this is my problem. I'm not getting it, and I'm not getting very far with it. And he gave me a very beautiful instruction. He said, okay, what you should do is read Chaitanya Charitamrita and then come back to the Bhagavatam, and you'll find that you will have a whole new flavor. And I followed that instruction. I read the Chaitanya and I was so thrilled to read that. It was like, oh, this is the best book ever in the world. And then when I came back, I thought, actually, why am I trying to read the Bhagavatam when I don't even understand the Bhagavad Gita? So I said, okay, and I know Guru Maharaj won't mind me reading Bhagavad Gita first. He'll probably would have encouraged me anyway. So I went to the Bhagavad Gita, and then I found like all my readings of the Bhagavad Gita of the last 20 years was like nonsense because I never understood a word. And now I'm getting this taste and this flavor, and I'm really thoroughly relishing every verse. And I'm reading the Gita as it is alongside Srila Prabhupada's lectures, alongside so many senior ISKCON leaders' comments, insights, realizations, and they're going through chapter by chapter. And it's so amazing. I've spent like maybe 6 months going through the last 7 chapters, and I absolutely love it.
Right. See, our hearts will get attracted to reading certain books, to reading certain verses, to relishing a particular book at a particular time. And so, it's what to say, very naturally blossoming process. Just as a plant slowly unfurls, first, it comes out of the ground, the seedling puts 2 little leaves, and it grows a little bit, then 2 more leaves, then and so on and so on, so on. A bhakti also must be given a chance to unfold naturally, organically, so to speak. So we don't force the pace, or we don't, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. In the beginning, when I came to Krishna consciousness, I was much older than most young people. So I was so disgusted with myself, like 30
Big goal,
years
big goal.
plus.
Understand,
I've
brother.
been I've been just such a shameless sense gratifier. Now I'm coming to Krishna consciousness. I've got to do everything. Now I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that. And every person I looked, oh, I want to be like that person. Oh, I want to be like this person. I just didn't like myself because I hadn't done anything for Krishna till that point. Didn't work. Didn't work. Finally, I had to come to the realization that, you know what? Krishna likes me the way I am, even if I may not like myself. And all I have is me the way I am. So, better that I'll allow myself to grow properly in Krishna consciousness and give Krishna whatever he has put inside of me, instead of constantly complaining to him that you didn't do a good enough job. And then finally accept that, okay, Sridevi is never going to be a great cook. Sridevi is never going to be a great anything. But whatever she can do, let her learn to do that at least properly. So finally, I made peace with whatever. I said, all right, what's and all, I accept myself, Krishna, which is a big deal for me. Self-acceptance is also a big deal, in the journey of life. Stop wasting time comparing yourself to others, thinking they're better than you, you're not good enough, you'll never be good enough, blah, 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 blah. Woulda, coulda, shoulda syndrome, If we stop being so self-focused and being Krishna-focused, that is better, isn't it?
Very much
It's
always
not all
says
about
finish the
me, it's all
process.
about Krishna.
That's nice.
Thank you. So maybe we end on that note. Let's stop being self-centered and let's be Krishna-centered.
Yes. How about some chanting?
Yes, I'll
Do we have
just
time for that?
it's 1:15. Oh well, different time zone, sorry. 1:15 in the UK. Let me just stop the recording and